My name is Seth. I'm CEO of A Smarter City, and I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that today someone will get contaminated blood injected into their veins because it has been stored in an improper temperature. I am frustrated because my grass will not grow as I expect it to grow because I'm either overwatering it or underwatering it. I don't know. I'm frustrated because right before I got here today, I realized that I don't think I closed the garage door. So I drove all the way back to my house, and yes, in fact, the garage door was closed. And on the way back, I was frustrated yet again because I heard on the radio that, unfortunately, Memphis had yet again made it on a top 10 worst list. I'm ready to wake up tomorrow and know that the blood that's being injected into my veins has been stored at a proper temperature for its entire life in that bag. I'm ready to know that my garden and my yard does not need to be watered today because it's oversaturated with water. I'm ready to know that my garage door is closed, not because I drove all the way back home and looked at the thing, but because I got on the internet and Google searched my garage door and found out, yep, it's in fact closed. I want to know that my city is a safer, healthier, more efficient, and self-sustaining and smarter city than it is today, and make us world-renowned for the right reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, I have excellent news. Part of the solution is in my hand right now. What you're looking at is a wireless sensor that connects physical objects to the internet. Kind of a weird concept. Think of it like this. Computers connect people to the internet. Smartphones connect cell phones to the internet. These guys connect physical objects, like the bags of blood, like the soil of my yard, and like my garage door, to the internet. But we as Smarter City, we know a little bit about these things. And we know that for a technology like this to truly be successful, it must have three distinct characteristics. It must be inexpensive. It must be available, meaning that there's a network that supports it, and it must be easy to use. I have excellent news again. This stuff is cheap. Unfortunately, there is no network support, and it is not easy to use. Again, it's cheap because thanks to really smart people on the West Coast and advances in technology, these guys are about $20 today, and only getting smaller, more powerful, and cheaper. However, if you were to purchase one of these today, it would be like buying a cell phone without any cell phone towers being built and no wireless service providers. Weird, right? Which leaves you to kind of build it yourself. So unless you're a programmer who's very good at different types of programming languages, comfortable working with circuit boards and network support, establishing and supporting networks, you're going to have to spend a lot of money to smart people who do know these things. And that basically negates any savings of the hardware you realized. So that was the challenge we faced, but 90 days ago as a Smarter City. We first focused on the network, and thanks to a partnership with the Center City Commission, I'm proud to announce Memphis, Tennessee, within Shelby County, has the largest wireless mesh network of its kind in North America. Spanning from Harbortown to South Bluffs, bordered on the west by the Mississippi River, stretching as far east as the building we are in right now in the medical district. It runs off these small wireless radios, leveraging battery power and backed by solar panels, configured in a mesh network that transfers data from these guys to the internet. Now, what a mesh network means is that it's a resilient network. If there were 20 of these devices on the stage today, and I stepped on 5 of them, rendering them completely helpless, the remaining 15 would reroute the information automatically and keep the network sustained, keep the network up and running. Self-sustaining means batteries power these things, but they're charged by solar panels. So if you cut the power, it doesn't matter. The network stays intact. So that's kind of cool, right? We've solved but one of the problems, and we did it in a very short amount of time. But how do we use this network? Well, we again went back to the Center City Commission and talked to them about problems that they face, right? One of which was parking. Parking is a unique thing and something we were very interested in because it's not unique to Memphis. Every dense urban area struggles with parking. So We took our technology, we planted sensors above parking spaces in the Barbaro Flats parking garage, and we monitor whether or not those spaces are occupied, alert when conditions change, and display that information on the internet, right? Imagine Google Maps. Hover over parking garage, you'll see there's spaces available. We even created a website to give some analytics and some historical data. Parkers love this because they now make their trips extremely efficient. They know before they leave that there's available parking downtown. They don't have to wander around blocks. The Center City Commission and other municipalities love it because they can now look at occupancy during weekends of interest like Music Fest. Parking managers love it because they have another data point to compare with their revenue control systems to see if they're losing money they should earn. That wasn't enough. We also are exploring a plant health monitoring product in collaboration with the Memphis Community Gardens Project. A very cool concept, giving us downtown urban dwellers living in the concrete jungle plots to plant gardens and grow gardens. What this does, sensors in the soil monitor the humidity and temperature and give daily text messages to let gardeners know that either your plants are fine or they need attention. Give them the ability to skip a day watering, as an example. One step towards a healthier city. Our third and final example is a security product. In association with Diller Dorn Security, we've installed, a sensor on the security door on the Lofts parking garage in downtown Memphis. It lets us know when the door is open, when it is closed, when it is somewhere in the middle. And that's what's intriguing, because if it's somewhere in the middle for too long, that door is broken. Before a smarter city, Diller Door relied on phone calls from Good Samaritans to say, hey, your door's broken, go fix it. Insert a smarter city, daily text or a text message or an email alert saying something's wrong with the door, may want to go have someone fix it. So our ability to provide these applications is one thing, but we wanted to make this an easier technology, a more available technology, easier to access and use this technology. So we found some shortcuts along the way. And we documented those and installed what we call an API. As techie guys know what an API is, but it basically makes it very easy to configure these sensors, plug them into our network, and transfer the data across our network to the internet seamlessly. So in review, we've removed the programming support because of our API. We have the network, and we have an easy way to plug in, so we supplant all those overhead costs associated with this small device. And we did it. In but 90 days, we've established a network, the largest of its kind in North America, and we made it far easier to use. So shifting gears, let's talk about how we make money. Each device that you want to install on a network will cost you $24 per year for the connection to the internet. There are 3 additional ways we make money. The application platform I mentioned, if we determine you're using it in a for-profit endeavor, we're going to charge you a per transaction fee, something very small. Data analysis talks to the public information, the non-private information or data that flows across our network. We want to research and find patterns and offer that to parties of interest like advertising agencies or search engines like Google. And lastly, custom consulting or custom applications. If a city approaches us to say, hey, install your parking application in our garages, we'll gladly do that. Determining the size of the market was a bit difficult because the wireless mesh network market doesn't exist today, but we did find an analogous market in the wireless data market. It's a $55 billion industry next year, supporting 285 million cell phones. It took the the cell phone industry 35 years to get to these numbers. But if you look to the right side, there's supposed to be 283 million of these guys sold in 2012 alone. Taking that $283 million number, a million device number, comparing it with some key statistics of the wireless data market, gives us a rough estimate of about $6 to $9 billion in market potential in 2012. Pretty cool stuff. Now, the other distinguishing factor that I must highlight, the wireless data market traffic is much higher, as you can see. But these are teens and tweens saying LOL and OMG. Our data is of much higher value about the condition of the blood, the condition of your garden, the condition of parking spaces. Anything about the physical world. Our competition is not any one particular business, it's the status quo. It's breaking the mental model that we're so ingrained. Wi-Fi costs billions to install the infrastructure, and they're proud of it, and they charge a good amount per month to use that technology. GSM cell networks, same thing. All the cell towers cost a ton to establish, and they're proud. They charge about $40 per month. It's almost unfair to compare a Smarter City Urban Mesh, which is what we've aptly named our network. Thousands of dollars to implement our network, $2 per month in comparison, and the power requirements make it completely unfair. You cut the power on these previous two established networks, they will fail. Nothing happens to ours because we're not power line dependent. What we need is to continue the inertia of this idea. We need $800,000 over the next year to expand to the top 25 densest urban areas in the United States. We also plan to refine that API I discussed to make it even easier to use, such that someone like me can drag and drop. I want to know temperature, I want to know humidity, and then boom, it works. We also need money to run our business. We need to pay ourselves salaries. I want to quit my day job. Travel, network support costs. When we establish this huge network, it's going to cost some money to maintain it, but not much. From a revenue perspective, that $800,000 gets us the first year of installing all this infrastructure, right? So that's a tough year, and we don't plan on much growth. But once the infrastructure is established, those costs are somewhat contained. And based on the very conservative, almost anemic growth projections that we played with and that we expect, by the end of year 2, we are cash flow positive. Pretty exciting. So I've talked to you a lot about some dollars. I've talked to you about how we solved some real issues with this. This list is something that we came up with just in our spare time to figure out, wow, we have endless possibilities. Let's write a few down and see what it looks like. The couple I'll mention are smart meters. We all hear about smart meters, but they're very power company based, right? The power company installs smart meters to charge us more money. I want to see a consumer-facing smart meter installed on the Smarter City Urban Mesh network. Healthcare, patient monitoring. This stuff is going to be approved by the FDA this year for operation in hospitals and things like that. I want to see some healthcare products, like the blood monitoring I mentioned earlier. Before I go, I want to answer a question all of you are probably asking. Who's this guy Seth, and who's this team that's going to pull this off? My chief software guy cut his teeth with this technology working for FedEx Innovation Labs, and he is a full-time employee of a Smarter City. Extremely excited about the opportunity. Eric Knight, chief infrastructure engineer, currently grows and supports multi-continental networks that support our troops abroad as a network engineer for the Department of Defense. I'm Seth. I'm the mouthpiece. I get to tell people about this wonderful product and ask you for $800,000 to continue to grow. Look forward to talking to each of you about your continued interest in a smarter city. Thank you.